Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is show number 27 of my favorite singers and songwriters, and in this case, a singer-songwriter, the great Canadian Stan Rogers, and a musician I actually got to see in person, so that's kind of cool. I haven't, of all the shows I've done so far, there's only been one other person that I've seen live, and that was Libba Cotton when she was 94 years old, in the same year that she passed away. So I'm going to start out with a great song that Stan wrote about farming and the struggles of farming and being a farmer. So it's called "The Field Behind the Plow" by Stan Rogers. So. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, feel the trickle in your clothes, pull the dust cake from your nose, hear the tractor's steady roar. Oh, you can't stop now, there's a quarter section more or less to go. And it figures that the rain keeps its own sweet time. You can watch it come for miles, but you guess you got a while. Squeeze the throttle out ahead, every rod's a gain, and there's victory in every quarter mile. Poor old Kuzik down the road, the heartache, hail, and hoppers brought him down. He gave it up and went to town. Emmett Pierce the other day took a heart attack and died at 42. You could see it coming on, 'cause he worked as hard as you. In an hour, maybe more, you'll be wet clear through. The air is cooler now, pull your hat brim further down. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, put another season's promise in the ground. And if the harvest's any good, the money just might cover all the loans. You've mortgaged all you own. Buy the kids a winter coat, take the wife back east for Christmas if you can. All summer she hangs on when you're so tied to the land. For the good times come and go, but at least there's rain, so this won't be barren ground when September rolls around. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, put another season's promise in the ground. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, put another season's promise in the ground. All right, a Stan Rogers song called "The Field Behind the Plow," about the struggles of farming and the joys as well. So really a great song. All right, what do I have to say about Stan Rogers? Well, a few things. So first one is that I was living in Ann Arbor, and as a teenager got to go to the Art Coffee House that was at the time on the corner of Olivia and Hill Street, and I had a paper out, and so one of my customers was the Arc Coffee House. So David and Linda Sieglin, who ran the place, were my customers, and I went one evening to go see Stan Rogers, probably around 1980, I think, or so, maybe 81. And unfortunately, he only lived for a few more years, so I was really lucky to see him. Stan lived from 1949 to 1983. Let's see. And then I wore this shirt tonight because in 2013 our family went to the Winnipeg Folk Festival up in Canada, and it was the 40th anniversary of the festival, and Stan had performed at the very first one. And so his son Nathan Rogers, was on stage there, and he invited up, I don't know, 30 or 40 of his best buddies, and they all wore kind of like those denim work shirts and bandanas, and they all went up and sang Barrett's Privateers, one of Stan's songs. So it was a special memory from that festival. So, all right. The next one I'm going to do before Murray joins me is a sea shanty. Stan was a big lover of sea songs and sea shanties, and he was a huge guy. I mean, just big 6'4", barrel-chested, deep voice, and awesome singer and songwriter. So this one's called Rolling Down to Old Maui. And I'm going to sing it a cappella because that's the best way for a sea shanty like this one. And hopefully you'll join me, at least on the chorus. So Rolling Down to Old Maui. So Maui is actually M-A-U-I, Maui, the island in Hawaii, but it's pronounced Maui in this song. So it's a damn tough life, full of toil and strife, we whaler men undergo. And we won't give a damn when the gale is done, how hard the winds do blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the Arctic crown, with a good ship taut and free. And we won't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls of old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic crown, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale through the ice and wind and rain. Them coconut froms, them tropical lands we soon shall see again. 6 hellish months we've passed away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. But now we're bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail the northerly gale and towards our island home. Our mainmast sprung, our whaling done, and we ain't got far to roam. Our stunsail's bones is carried away, what care we for that sound? A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. One more time. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic ground, rolling down to old Maui. Hey, Mairead, you're on in 2 minutes, okay? What? You're on in 2 minutes. So this next song is called The Mary Ellen Carter. It's a great song, and I'm going to read a story that I found about it that I really like. On February 12, 1983, the ship Marine Electric was carrying a load of coal from Norfolk, Virginia to a power station in Somerset, Massachusetts. The worst storm in 40 years blew up that night, and the ship sank at about 4 o'clock in the morning on the 13th. The ship's chief mate, 59-year-old Robert Cusick, was trapped under the deck house as the ship went down. His snorkeling experience helped him avoid panic and swim to the surface, but he had to spend the night alone, up to his neck in water, clinging to an overturned lifeboat, and in water barely above freezing, and air much colder. Huge waves were crashing and washing over him, and each time he was not sure he would ever reach the surface again to breathe. Battling hypothermia, he became tempted to allow himself to fall unconscious and let go of the lifeboat. Just then, he remembered the words to the song The Mary Ellen Carter by Stan Rogers. He started to sing it and soon was alternately shouting out, rise again, and holding his breath as the waves washed over him. At 7 o'clock that morning, a Coast Guard helicopter spotted him and he was pulled to safety. Only 2 men of the other 33 that had been aboard survived the wreck. After his ordeal, Cusick wrote a letter to Stan Rogers telling him what had happened. and how the song had helped save his life. In response, Cusick was invited to attend what turned out to be the second to last concert that Rogers ever performed. Cusick told his story in the documentary that you can watch on YouTube called One Warm Line, which is named after one of his most famous songs, the Northwest Passage. So Mairead's going to come on and we're going to sing the Mary Ellen Carter. She just got done with the bike ride, so she's still in her bike clothes. You just want to jump in here? Yeah, so. Alrighty, hey Mairead. Okay, so Mary Ellen Carter, I hope you sing along. There's a little intro here. She went down last October in a pouring driving rain. The skipper he'd been drinking and the mate he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock and she was dealt her mortal blow. And the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was just 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We'd worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she gave when she went down, it caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter would rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel would be spent. She gave 20 years of service, boys, then met her sorry end. Insurance paid the loss to us, so let her rest below. Then they laughed at us and said we had to go. But we talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. She's worth $250,000 afloat and at the dock. With every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Oh, those who loved her best and were with her to the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard-hat suit and twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. But we patched her rents and stopped her vents, dug and hatched portal down, put cables to her fore and aft and girded her around. Tomorrow noon we hit the air and then take up the strain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Oh, those who loved her best and were with her to the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Let me do my intro. Interlude. For we couldn't leave her there, you see, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gale. And the laughing drunken rats who left her to her sorry grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Thank you. Thank you, Mairead. That was awesome. That's one of Mairead's favorite songs, so I asked her if she could join me on it. I've got just one or two quick things to say left. The first one is that Rise Again, for those of you who know about the great collection of song lyrics that has 1,200 songs in it called Rise Up Singing, a sequel came out maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, and it is called Rise Again, named after the chorus from this great song by Stan Rogers, the Mary Ellen Carter. And then the last thing I have to say is that two things. One, I just want to give a shout out to my late cousin Mary Ellen, because this is her name, so it just makes me think of her. And also another Canadian connection. Stan was from Hamilton, Ontario, not too far from Toronto. And so a big shout out to our friends Christina, Alana, and Ernst up there in Hamilton. So, all right, what's coming up next? I'm going to do Ava Cassidy, the beautiful singer who unfortunately we lost way too soon. She does covers of just wonderful versions of songs, and I had to pick 3, and I'm going to do People Get Ready, Curtis Mayfield, the Fields of Gold by Sting, and then a traditional song that she covered called a gospel song called The Wayfaring Stranger. So if you can join me, let's see, that would be in a couple days on Friday. It'll be Ava Cassidy coming up next. So thanks for listening, and I hope everybody's well. Take care. Love y'all. Bye.